Is Lalita Chaitanya, lecturer in Commerce, Government City College. Today's topic is essential elements of a valid offer. Let us move on the definition of offer. An offer is a proposal made by one party to the other party in order to establish a legal agreement between them is called an offer. According to the section 2, subsection A, the person is said to make a proposal when he signifies to another his willingness to do or to abstain from doing anything with a view of obtaining the assent of others for its realization. For example, if P asks Q to sell his house for rupees 10 lakhs, then a proposal exists. As there are two persons where one is making a proposal in order to gain the acceptance of the other person. The person who makes the proposal or offer is referred to as promisor or offerer or proposer, and the person to whom the offer is made is referred to as offeree, and if the person accepts the offer, then he is known as promisee or acceptor. Let us move on to the procedure to make an offer. An offer can be made in the following two ways. The first procedure is expressed offer, implied offer. Now we will be discussing about the expressed offer. Expressed offer means if the offer is made by expressing words, spoken or written, then it becomes expressed offer. For example, if Q tells P that he offers to sell his house for 10 lakhs, then it is an expressed offer. Let us move on to the implied offer. Implied offer is nothing but if the offer is assumed from the behavior of a person or from the prevailing circumstances, then it is referred to as implied offer. For example, for the implied offer, a Central Railways runs trains in various routes all through the India. Here, the railway department makes an implied offer to carry the passengers to their destinations at a particular fare. As soon as the passenger gets into the train, the offer gets completed. That means it is called as an implied offer. Let us move on to what are the essential elements required for a valid offer. Some of the essentials or rules of valid offer are as follows. Offer should be as per law and should have the capability of being accepted and establishing a legal relationship. According to law, an offer which does not lead to the establishment of legal relationship is not a valid offer. The offer of a social and domestic nature do not constitute a legal relationship. Legal relationships are generally established in business transactions. In these transactions, if one party is responsible for the breach of contract, then the other party can sue against the party responsible for breaching. So, always an offer should be as per law. Let us move on to the second point. An offer should be definite, unambiguous, and certain, and is not loose and vague. If the terms of an offer are not clear, specific, and certain, then it cannot constitute a valid offer and hence cannot create a contractual relationship between both the parties. Hence, an agreement which is to be agreed in future cannot constitute a contract, as terms of agreements are not yet decided because of which it is uncertain to take place. For example, P purchased a cow from Q and is promised to buy one more if the first cow gives good quantity of milk. But later P denied to buy one more cow. Here Q cannot enforce the agreement as it was a loose, not clear. So, offer should be always definite and certain. It should not be loose. Let us move on to the third point. An offer may be differentiated from expressing of intention and an announcement. Expressing of intention and announcement means when a person expresses that he has an intention to do something, then second person cannot take an action against the first person, because this expression indicates that an offer will be made or invited in future but not at the present condition. Example for this particular point is a college conducts a scholarship test and announces that the first 5 merit students will be given a scholarship. Here, the student who got 6th place in merit list cannot sue against the college because for not giving him a scholarship. In this case, the expression of intention to write an exam does not establish a binding contract on those who have appeared in it. Hence, the 6th student cannot receive the scholarship. Means that expressing of intention and announcement is very much important for an offer. And let us move on to the second subheading, an invitation to make an offer or to do business. Means an offer should be differentiated from an invitation. Invitation is very much important for an offer to do a business. Here, in this case, the person inviting will not make any offer and instead of it invites the other person or a party to make an offer. These domestic invitations, though constitute an offer, they are not considered as offers as per law, as they do not involve any legal obligation. When a shopkeeper demonstrates some of the goods available in his window, then it does not mean that he is making an offer, but instead of this, it makes informing and inviting the public to make an offer by buying the goods is called as invitation to make an offer. Now, move on to the fourth point, an offer should be communicated. In order to make a complete valid offer, it should be discussed or communicated with the offeree. That means the person to whom the offer is made is called offeree. The offer cannot be accepted if it is not communicated by an offerer to an offeree. Anything which is done in ignorance of an offer cannot be accepted. Finally, an offer can be effective only when it is communicated properly. Otherwise, any time the offer may become void. For example, a father knowing that his 4 years kid was not found at home asked his housekeeper to search for the kid. After the housekeeper leaves the home to search around, the person declared a reward of rupees 1000 for whoever traces and brings his kid back. The housekeeper, without having any knowledge regarding the reward, traces and brings the kid back, and when he came to know about the declaration, he claims for it. But his claim for the reward was dismissed as he has traced the kid before knowing about the reward. Let us move on to the fifth point. Let us move on to the fifth point. Offer should be made with perspective to receive the acceptance. Offer should be made with perspective to receive the acceptance means the offer should be made with an intention of gaining the other party's acceptance and not just for revealing the intention of making an offer. Coming to the sixth point, offer should not include the term non-compliance. Means a person cannot declare that the offer is assumed to be accepted if the acceptance is not communicated by within a specific time. So, offer should not include the term non-compliance. For example, if P writes to Q that P shall sell his house for rupees 10 lakhs, and if Q does not reply, then he shall consider that the offer is accepted. But a contract cannot be made if Q does not reply, and he is not obliged to reply. On the other hand, if Q accepts P's proposal, then an offer is made. So, unless and until acceptance is not there, so you cannot make a offer. Let us move on to the seventh point. A statement of price is not an offer. A statement of price cannot make an offer to sell. P examples, P and Q exchange 3 letters. First one, P asks Q, "Are you ready to buy my house?" Second point, Q replies, "The highest price I can pay rupees 10 lakhs." Third point, P agrees to sell the house at 10 lakhs. Here, a contract can be made only if Q accepts the P's last condition, that is, as Q gave only a little information and no offer can be made without a complete information. Let us move on to the eighth point. An offer should follow the terms and conditions. Before making any offer, the offerer reveals the terms and conditions associated with the offer. The offeree should accept all the terms and conditions if he wants to make an offer. Hence, a contract cannot exist if all the terms and conditions of an offer are fulfilled and accepted. Unless and until the terms and conditions are accepted, then only the offer can be made. If the person is not following the terms and conditions of the contract, then offer cannot become a valid. Next one, two identical cross offers cannot make a contract. It means if two parties make a similar offers to each other, then the offers are referred to as cross offers. These offers does not form an acceptance of one's offer by the other, as there is no mutual agreement between both the parties. Thank you.